So welcome to another unboxing video from PlayerSaid.com. My name's Alexander. Today we're taking a look at a game that I'm very excited for. This is Fire in the Sky. This is the Great Pacific War, 1941-45. So it's designed by Tetsuya Nakamura, but this game's been around for a while. This is a new edition of this game that's put out by PHALANX. I think originally it was put out by MMP. I don't know if PHALANX bought the rights for it and put it back out again, but it was hard to get a hold of. It was very expensive. It's like this old iconic. It was kind of like a mustard-colored or an olive-colored box, and had a very iconic. It was plain, bursting with fire, crashing into the ocean. I believe it was a really cool cover, and I'd heard very good things about it. So PHALANX recently reprinted it, put it back out again. I mean, it's also an absolute steal price-wise. This is a two-player, strategic level, massive Pacific World War II war game. There's a bunch of whole hidden information stuff, so I think you just play it two players. I don't know if there's a way to do this one solo, at least not without just doing it two-handed and hoping for the best. So let's kind of look at what we got in here, because there's a whole bunch of stuff. So you do get a massive amount of bags for all your pieces. So we got some white and blue wooden cubes, and then these dice are so cool. So you got 5 blue and 5 white. These are like plastic dice. I don't know if you can see this. These are not painted on pips. It's like they have a core in them, and then the pips are cut in to reveal the core. It's very, very strange. I've never seen anything quite like it. If you're looking from on top, it's fairly easy to read, but kind of from the sides, you get some shadows in there, and on those dark ones, it can be a bit of a challenge. But yeah, the white ones are the same. So you get a bunch of cool dice. I've literally never seen dice like this before. Now we do have a bunch of paper and a whole bunch of cardboard here. So let's take a little look here. We have two. No, we do not. We have a copy of the rules. This is a scenario book, which is bigger than the rules. Good gracious. So we are looking at about 20-odd pages of rules. So you've got 2 columns, diagrams, and a fairly large font size, which we're happy about. But yeah, this is a fairly, this is a war game. This isn't some light fare dudes on a map style game. The scenario book is bigger than the rule book by a good 12-odd pages, 32 pages. So let's have a look what we got. Scenario 1, 2. So from Pearl Harbor to Japanese surrender. That's like the whole thing. This is probably an introductory one. From the Battle of the Java Sea to Japanese surrender. Maybe not. So this looks like there's 6 scenarios. Yeah, and there's a lot of setup, and then they got a diagram of that as well. Scenario 7. So it looks like there's 7 scenarios. That's interesting. Scenario 7, Battle of Midway. Oh, that's just a single battle in there as well. So these are all the scenarios, it looks like. But then we have extended example of play. Yeah, example of play that is very detailed and also long, which is hopefully going to be helpful for people to learn this game, if that's the way they want to go about doing it. Still going. Wow, that's like the whole thing. Wow, okay. I'm not mad about that. That's probably a very helpful way to play through and learn this game. If this was your first war game, or if this was something that you just wanted to dive into, kind of play along with that. It's a good way to figure out how probably most of the things work. So let's go back to the box here. We've got a bunch of these task force. What are we going to call these? Like shields. So this is task force 8. And you're going to bend these. And so you stand them up. And you're going to hide your units behind them of what's in any given task force. You've got task force 8, 16, 18, 34, 64. And then you've got the Eastern Fleet. And so the Far East Fleet and the Eastern Fleet for the British and Commonwealth there. So that way, and I believe you have the identifier hidden. So if you're putting units back and forth, the Japanese player doesn't necessarily know into which one they're going, at least to start with. Then we have some counter sheets here, and our counter sheets, these are kind of little small square ones, but I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if we can't catch the light. These have a linen finish on them. These are very thick grey core counters, and they're also all pre-rounded. These punch very easily, and they're also quite big as well. So here we've got a couple of carriers. You can see all of the different denotations on them. And on the back side, is it any different? Seemingly no. Not that I can tell. Those look identical on the back. We got a whole bunch of markers. We got some infantry, or yeah. So you got Marine divisions, army. Armies. There's a huge 6th Army, 8th Army. You got some regiments, Marine divisions as well. We've got Abda, some replacements, brigades, and then we do have fighters as well, it looks like, as well. Is there a difference on the back? Yes, there is. There is a difference. Okay. So this looks like this has an American, like a Stars and Stripes flag in the background, and this one doesn't. It's kind of grey. So that probably is a damaged side. I just don't see if there's any actual difference, though. Like, there's no difference in the statistics that I can see. Maybe I'm being blind, but I'm not sure. So then we got the Japanese units here. Just kidding. So we got more Commonwealth divisions and replacements. Royal Navy down here as well. Then we got starting to get into some of the Japanese planes. And then more Royal Navy. And then we got a lot of the Imperial Japanese Navy units here as well. Whole bunch of carriers, whole bunch of cruisers and battleships, and more and more and more cruisers, destroyers, and all that. So yeah, we've got these task force markers which are hidden, and they get revealed to what they are, which relates to what's behind those shields. But those are the counters. So whilst it is 5 sheets of counters, these aren't your traditional war game counters where you got to punch and clip them. And they give you baggies for them, which is nice. We have seemingly a single play aid in here, which is dual-sided. So you get your reinforcement set schedule, and then we've got our combat table, surface combat table, damage, and return schedule chart, transport chart. So one play aid between everyone. Well, hopefully it's not something I'm going to reference all the time, just as like a little combat chart is probably the most important part of that. Then we have a couple boards here. So I would presume this is our kind of combat board. We take our units, put them on the combat board, because you have your sea control, bombardment task forces. If you're doing like bombardments for naval landings, you're going to put your battleships here for that. Carrier task forces going to go in the back lines, and then ships at anchor are kind of off. We have our airpoint track, which presumably is a commitment of these airplanes and whatever's going to fly off of your carriers and things like that. Land, sea, long-range air. So that's probably going to go off to the side of our board, and we have the actual whole board here. Oh, that's not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, honestly. Alright, so we have a big hex grid overlay of the Pacific. So you've got Pearl Harbor over on this side, and then we got the Japanese home islands all the way up here, and it goes all the way around to like India and Singapore on this side. I guess based on the back of the board, I was expecting it to be a bit more blue, and this is very grey. What you're seeing on the camera might not be necessarily exactly what it looks like because my white balance is off, but this is very grey, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually probably more legible, honestly, with the white overlay on it, but I was just surprised that it wasn't blue, especially because the original one was also a very strong dark blue from what I remember seeing pictures of. So we have on here our little victory track. Get yourself to automatic victory, at least for the Americans over here. I don't know if the Japanese... Oh, the Japanese have to get to 40 points for automatic victory. Oh, it goes all the way around. Okay. And then we have our turn track, it looks like. Indian Ocean ports. Yeah, Japanese home base holding boxes. So you're not getting a whole bunch of collectors. Same for Pearl Harbor and the West Coast. So you don't have a massive stack of dudes in Pearl Harbor. But yeah, it looks... I'm very, very, very excited to play this. I've been looking forward to this game for a very long time. I, weighed up spending over $100 on the original one for many years, and then PHALANX announced they were reprinting this a couple of years ago, like back in 2019, I feel they announced this, and I was like, yes, finally here. So we enjoy Pacific war games. Empire of the Sun's one of the best. It's one of the best war games, period, frankly. But I've always been very interested to see this because I don't know. I'm interested to see how different it is and what we can get out of this. How long it takes to play, if this is going to be a mainstay. I believe that it is. I believe it has a good reputation, so I'm very excited to play this one. So this is Fire in the Sky from PHALANX. Yes, it's available now. This is just shipped. We just got it fairly recently, so appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.